Did you know that most people trying to lose belly fat are eating the exact foods that make it harder to burn? Low-fat yogurt loaded with sugar. Healthy granola that spikes your blood sugar before 9 a.m. A salad drowned in a dressing with more calories than the burger next to it. Meanwhile, there are foods sitting in almost every kitchen that actually help your body burn fat more efficiently. And most people have never connected the dots. Today, we're counting down 9 fat-burning foods, backed by real research, ranked from good to absolutely essential. Number 1 has a clinical trial behind it that sounds almost too good to be true. Let's get into it. Number 9. Cinnamon. Most people only think about cinnamon around the holidays, sprinkled on something that's already loaded with sugar. That's actually working against you. Cinnamon has a well-documented effect on how your body handles blood sugar. It can help slow the rate at which sugar enters your bloodstream after a meal, which means fewer sharp spikes and fewer sharp crashes. And those crashes matter more than people realize. Every blood sugar spike followed by a crash tends to trigger cravings, and cravings are where most fat loss plans quietly fall apart. A teaspoon costs pennies and works in coffee, oatmeal, or stirred into yogurt. Skip the sugary cinnamon rolls. The spice itself is doing the work. It's just been trapped in the wrong foods this whole time. And if a spice from your cabinet can do that, wait until you hear what number 8 does to your digestion. Number 8. Ginger. Ginger has been used for digestive support for centuries, long before anyone had a lab to explain why it worked. Now we actually know the mechanism. Ginger speeds up gastric emptying, meaning food moves through your stomach more efficiently instead of sitting there causing bloating and that sluggish, heavy feeling that makes your stomach look and feel bigger than it is. It also has a mild thermogenic effect, nudging your body to generate a small amount of extra heat and burn a few more calories processing it. Fresh ginger costs about $1 for a piece that lasts weeks in the fridge. Grate it into tea, stir fries, or a smoothie. Even a small amount goes a long way. Less bloating, smoother digestion, a small metabolic nudge. Ginger isn't flashy, but it's been quietly working this whole time. And if ginger surprised you, number 7 is the breakfast food doing more for your waistline than any cereal box claim ever has. Number 7, oats, not the instant packets loaded with sugar. Plain rolled oats or steel cut oats, the ones that actually take a few minutes to cook. Oats are loaded with a specific type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan, and this is the part most people skip past. Beta-glucan forms a gel in your digestive tract that slows digestion and keeps you full for hours, not the 45 minutes you get from a sugary breakfast bar. That fullness matters more for fat loss than almost anything else on this list, because the biggest threat to any fat loss plan isn't willpower. It's just getting hungry again too soon. A container costs a few dollars and lasts weeks. Cook it in water or milk, add cinnamon from number 9, and you've already stacked 2 items on this list before 8 a.m. Oats aren't exciting. They're just quietly one of the most effective tools for staying full on this entire list. And if oats impressed you, number 6 is the fruit everyone associates with old school diets, and it turns out the old advice wasn't wrong. Number 6, grapefruit. Grapefruit got attached to every fad diet in the 1970s, and that reputation made people forget it actually has real science behind it. Half a grapefruit before a meal is low in calories, high in water content, and high in fiber, a combination that fills your stomach without adding much to your daily calorie total. It also has a naturally sour, bitter edge that tends to reduce how much people eat during the rest of that meal, simply because the palate is already satisfied in a different way. One grapefruit costs about $1 and needs zero preparation beyond cutting it in half. If you're on certain medications, check with a pharmacist first. Grapefruit is well known to interact with several common prescriptions. That's a real caution, not a footnote. For everyone else, it's one of the simplest pre-meal habits on this entire list. And if grapefruit surprised you, number 5 is the fat everyone spent a decade being afraid of, and it turns out fat was never really the enemy. Number 5, coconut oil. For years, any oil that was solid at room temperature got treated like an enemy. Coconut oil got lumped into that fear, and it didn't deserve it. Coconut oil is unusually high in medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs, a type of fat your body processes differently than most other fats. Instead of getting stored the way long-chain fats often do, MCTs go more directly to your liver to be used for quick energy. That doesn't make coconut oil a magic fat burner, but swapped in for the vegetable oils in your cooking, it's a fat source your body has an easier time using rather than storing. A jar costs a few dollars and lasts months since you only need a spoonful at a time. Use it for sauteing vegetables or eggs. Not by the spoonful straight, it's still calorie dense, so portion matters here more than on almost anything else on this list. Not a magic bullet, just a smarter swap than the bottle sitting next to it in your pantry. And if that changed how you think about fat, number 4 is the food doing something almost nothing else on this list can do: controlling hunger while you sleep. Number 4, cottage cheese. Protein has a metabolic advantage that most people never think about. Your body burns more calories digesting protein than it does digesting fat or carbs. It's called the thermic effect of food, and protein-heavy foods get the biggest bump from it. A cup of cottage cheese delivers around 25 grams of protein, and it's mostly casein, the same slow-digesting protein that keeps your muscles fed for hours. That same slow digestion is exactly what keeps hunger away overnight, which matters if late-night snacking has ever derailed a day of otherwise good eating. A container costs about $2 to $3 and lasts most of the week. Go full fat, plain, and add your own toppings: berries, a drizzle of honey, or black pepper if you want it savory. The flavored cups are usually loaded with enough sugar to undo the benefit. High protein, slow digesting, and it works against hunger while you're not even awake to fight it. And if cottage cheese surprised you, number 3 is sitting in almost every kitchen and most people are using it wrong. Number 3, apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar has one of the more surprising evidence bases on this entire list. A 2025 systematic review and meta-analysis in the journal Frontiers in Nutrition pooled controlled clinical trials and found that apple cider vinegar meaningfully lowered fasting blood sugar and improved markers of blood sugar control in people with type 2 diabetes. Now, to be clear, that research is specifically in people managing diabetes, not a guarantee of the same effect for everyone, but the underlying mechanism applies more broadly. Vinegar slows how quickly your stomach empties and blunts the blood sugar spike after a carb-heavy meal, and smaller spikes generally mean fewer crashes and less rebound hunger a few hours later. 1 to 2 tablespoons diluted in a glass of water before a meal costs almost nothing. Never drink it straight. It's acidic enough to damage your teeth and throat over time. Always dilute it and rinse your mouth afterward. A cheap, well-studied habit that's been sitting in the pantry the whole time, doing more than most people give it credit for. And if that impressed you, number 2 is the drink most people already have every single morning, and it turns out it's been working in your favor the whole time. Number 2, black coffee. Black coffee. No sugar, no syrup, no cream, loaded with more calories than the coffee itself. Caffeine is one of the most consistently studied compounds for its effect on metabolism. Clinical research shows caffeine can raise resting metabolic rate by roughly 3 to 8% for a couple of hours after you drink it, and separate research shows it increases the rate at which your body oxidizes fat for fuel, especially before exercise. That's not a dramatic transformation from one cup. But stacked daily, over weeks and months, a small, consistent metabolic nudge adds up in a way a single detox tea never will. A cup of black coffee costs a fraction of what you'd pay for a flavored latte, and it comes with 0 added sugar working against you. Drink it black, or with a small splash of milk if you need it. The moment you add flavored syrup, you've canceled out the entire benefit and added it right back in liquid sugar. The drink you already have every morning has been quietly on your side. You just might have been drowning it in the wrong extras. Which brings us to number 1, the food with a genuine clinical trial behind it and a number that sounds almost too good to be true. Number 1, Cayenne Pepper. A 2021 systematic review and meta-analysis pooling 13 clinical trials found that capsaicin, the compound that makes chili peppers hot, significantly increased resting metabolic rate, energy expenditure, and fat oxidation compared to placebo. That's not one small study, that's pooled data across multiple controlled trials, and it points the same direction every time. Here's the mechanism. Capsaicin activates a receptor called TRPV1, the same one responsible for that burning sensation when you eat something spicy. That activation triggers your sympathetic nervous system, raises your body temperature slightly, and increases the rate at which your body burns calories to bring that temperature back down. Some research has also linked regular capsaicin intake to activation of brown fat, the type of fat tissue that burns calories to produce heat instead of storing energy. The effect per meal is modest, not dramatic. Nobody is melting fat from one spicy taco, but it's one of the few items on this entire list with pooled clinical trial data behind it, not just a folk remedy repeated online. A quarter teaspoon costs next to nothing and works in eggs, soups, stir fries, or a marinade. Start small if you're not used to spice. The goal is a subtle background heat, not a dare. Small pepper, real pooled clinical data, and it's probably already sitting in your spice rack unused. Here's the pattern across this entire list. None of these foods work like a switch. There's no single food that melts fat on its own, and anyone promising that is selling you something. What actually works is what these 9 foods have in common. They support your blood sugar, keep you fuller for longer, and give your metabolism a small, consistent nudge in the right direction, meal after meal. Stack enough small nudges together, and they add up to something real. Which one on this list are you adding to your routine this week? Drop it in the comments. I read every one, and if you want the full breakdown of how to build these into one complete day of eating, the next video walks through exactly that.